Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom Airsoft. It's good to see you again. If it's your first time here, then as always, it is good to see you. I hope you'll stick around. Okay, well, welcome to one of our regular weekend Airsoft discussions. This weekend we're going to be having a look at a replica, which is great. I always like looking at new replicas, as you probably know. Before we get into that though, I'd just like to say that if it is your first time here, if you do find that you enjoy my series of videos, or if you have been a regular watcher and you've been enjoying my series of videos, we normally do a gameplay video midweek, which is normally me out in the field having a game. And every weekend we look to do a discussion on everything related to Airsoft, whether that be gear reviews, replica reviews, bit of tech advice, tech videos, general discussions on the great sport and hobby that is Airsoft. So if you are enjoying that series, then please do subscribe to the channel, and then that way you won't miss any of my uploads or any of my bonus uploads. And if you do want more content from the channel, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram as Rock Bottom Airsoft, where there's loads of photos and discussions and things like that that you can get involved with. So, with that out of the way, what are we looking at in today's weekend video? Well, I'm quite excited. It's quite a big boy. I was struggling to get this to fit in the camera. This is the ICS MGL 190 Launcher. It's a replica of a real steel grenade launcher in use, I think primarily with the US military, a 40mm grenade launcher, but this one has 6 barrels. I've wanted one of these for a while. It's an unusual replica, and that might get you thinking that here on Rock Bottom Airsoft, we tend to look at the more affordable side of Airsoft. Now, a replica like this is certainly a frivolous purchase, I'll admit, and possibly not what you would normally go down the route of an affordable launcher. You may recall I already did a video on some of the more affordable 40mm airsoft grenade launchers that you can buy, which are much more affordable than this one. However, as some of you may know, I am a proponent for buying second-hand replicas, and I got this pre-owned, so I didn't pay the full price for it. That's not to say that I wouldn't be willing to pay the full price for it, because I probably would. I kind of like things like this. It's definitely different. So I did pay less than what they retail for. Now, considering the size of it and how unusual it is, the retail price of one of these is not actually too bad. I've been doing a bit of research, and you can pick one of these up for around about 150 British pounds. The highest I saw them was up to about 160 British pounds. So I mean, you know, that's not too bad for something that's definitely going to turn a few heads on the field, definitely going to get a few questions asked. Now, as to how playable it is, as a primary, I think you might struggle in game. What I'll plan to do is, as with all of my replica reviews and unboxings, I'm going to unbox this one today, so we're just going to have an overview of it and have a look at it and see what you get in the box, what it actually looks like, some of the features of it. And then what I'll do is when I'm back on form and back out in the field, at the next game I go to, I'll take this with me, and I'll get some gameplay footage of me using this in the field. I have a funny feeling that if this is the only replica I'm carrying, it's going to be a bit cumbersome, because you've only got 6 shots, and as you might already know, the 40mm grenades, unless you've got loads of them, which isn't exactly cheap, they take a while to reload, so you're going to limit yourself. But it'll be great fun, and I am looking forward to using it in game and seeing some of the footage we can get for that. So look out for that in a later gameplay video when I use this in game. As I say, at the moment, as many of you may know that follow me already, I am slightly injured and still recovering, so I'm not able to get out to an Airsoft game just now. But I'm hoping, I am on the mend, so I'm hoping I'll be able to get out soon, and I'll show you some video footage of this in-game of me using it. So I can't contain myself any longer. Let's have a look at what we got here. Well, the box, as you can probably see, is quite substantial. It's got ICS branding all over it. There's a nice carry handle here, which seems to have got stuck down, so you can take it away from the shop if you go and picking it up. Nice ICS logos all over it, and then as you can probably also notice here on the front, it's got some ASG branding. The items made by ICS, but I think ASG are the distributor here in the UK particularly. So the one that I've got here is the black one. It also comes in tan, but we've got the black one. So let's open the box up and see what we get in here. As I say, I want to excuse the lack of space here to get in it. It's not the easiest, it's quite large. Okay, so there we go, that's the box open. So what do we actually get in the box here? Well, there's a few bits in there that I'm pretty sure don't come with it, with this being a pre-owned replica. But what you do get is you do get an instruction manual. The instruction manual, again, is branded ASG. MILKOR, I believe, is the real steel company that makes this launcher for the military. So what do we get inside the instructions? Well, we've got the usual, don't shoot anybody with it, don't shoot yourself in the face with it. A nice breakdown of what all the parts of the replica are. And here we have instructions on how to adjust your stock. It does have an adjustable stock, in and out, up and down. Some details about how to adjust the front grip. Comes with a front grip as standard. Some more information about the front grip. A spring detensioner for the rotation. How to adjust it for different grenade weights. How to use your safety catch. It's quite a good instruction manual, to be fair. It's quite in depth. How to load the launcher, prime it, and how to fire the thing. And then a section on some of the 40mm grenades you can buy from ASG and some of their BB selection. And a picture on the rear. So that's about it for the instructions. So bear with me a second. We'll whip this launcher out, and then we shall have a look at it. Okay. So bear with me a second. I'll get this out of the box, and then I'll come back to you. So there we have her. She's definitely a different looking item than you'd normally be running around the airsoft field with. So first of all, let's have a look what the primary construction is like. This is what you get in the box. You do have some quick release sling points here. Those are metal, so I would trust those. They come in the box. Most of the construction of this replica is polymer. It's a good quality polymer. It feels solid, feels rigid. The launcher barrels for the 6 barrels there, well, the 6 cylinders for holding your 40mm grenades, they are polymer. The front here is polymer, the grip is polymer. The rail at the front here, the quad rail, is polymer. The outer barrel is polymer. Pistol grip's polymer. Even the trigger is polymer. Safety is polymer. Standard M4 style adjustable stock, that is polymer. Adjusts just same as any stock, but unlike an M4 with this, you press these 2 buttons in. You've got adjustment to move the stock up and down, just like the real MILKOR launcher. That's all polymer. Everything's polymer there. This portion here is steel. This spring tensioner is steel. This section here is steel. And I think that's about it. The rest of it is polymer, so it is a pretty heavy polymer construction. As I say, these sling mounts are steel, so they're pretty good. You have a functional safety catch on it, that's on fire, which allows the trigger to be pulled. However, we haven't started up this this item. In order to load the launcher, what you have to do is you have a thumb switch at the front here, you pull that forward, and then you twist counterclockwise, which opens the cylinders and allows you to insert your 40mm grenades. Now, in order to use this replica, you put your 40 mils in. This, as you probably already know, is a 40 millimeter grenade. They sit in the launcher. You can mount 6 40 mils in there. So you've got 6 shots. In order to use the launcher, it works off spring tension. So you basically wind it up until it won't wind up anymore. Close it with your 40 mil grenades in. Move the switch to fire. And then each time you pull the trigger, you're going to fire off a grenade until all 6 are fired. And it'll do that as quick as you can pull the trigger. It's quite rapid. So the feel of it is great. It works really well. It does have an interesting feature in that it can do different sizes of 40 millimeter grenades. As many of you may know that are used to using 40 mils, this is a one size of 40 mil grenade. You get shorter ones, you get ones that hold more BBs or less BBs. You get the shower grenades, the CO2 grenades. You can get the Airsoft Innovations type ones. All sorts of different variations of 40 millimeter grenades. I believe there's a variant of this that's capable of taking tag shells. I'm not particularly sure whether this standard MGL can take tag rounds. I don't believe that it can. I think that you have to buy a modified version which can take the tag shells. The cost would be immense for 6 tag shells, but I can imagine that being superb to play in game if you had 6 rounds of tag as quick as you can fire them. So that's basically the function of the replica. You put your 6 40 mils in, tension it up, and then you're good to go. You can fire as quick as you pull the trigger, shower shells, all sorts. Pretty awesome. It's going to look cool. The weight of the replica, it has got a fair weight to it. I won't tell you that it's light. It's certainly not light. It's quite heavy. Different grenades, as we were mentioning, will require different spring tension. Now, if I open this up again so you can have a look. Now, I don't know if you can make that out on camera, but there's a little screw there. And basically all you do is you turn it clockwise and move the screw to one of these holes to increase spring tension, and counterclockwise you move it to decrease spring tension. And different weights of grenade are going to require different spring tension just because of the weight in the physical 40 millimeter. Obviously it needs to rotate them round, so I think you may be limited to using the same type of shell in each of the chambers, because if you don't, then obviously your spring tension may be off dependent on which shell is in which chamber. So I would imagine that's going to be an issue I may come across when I'm in the field, because I've built up a collection of these over time, and as you maybe know, these retail for anywhere up to about £40 each, from about £25 to £40 British pounds each. So they can get expensive, especially if you are going to go with something like the Airsoft Innovations, Master Mics or something like that. It'll get pricey, but if you're loading the same grenade into each one, you could build that up over time. I just really wanted one of these. It's really unusual. I really like it, and it suits me because if you've seen any of my gameplay videos, I'm not particularly what I call a competitive player. I play more for the fun of it, and with this kind of thing, it's certainly something that you could have fun with, you know what I mean? If you see someone coming around the corner with this, it's going to make you think twice. Now, as I mentioned earlier, some more features on there. You've got your quick release sling mounts, so sling options are there. That's not a problem. You've got 40mm rails, you've got 20mm standard quad rail at the front here for, I don't know, lasers, that type of thing. If you want to mount it on there, you could mount another launcher on there, I suppose, if you want to be really clever. There's a grip comes with it, which is this grip here. Quite a nice grip. It is polymer, but it does the job. It's quick release. Just press the button and slide it and adjust it or take it off altogether. There is a storage compartment in the bottom of there that screws off. You can keep a battery or whatever in there that you might need. Also, these side panels do flick off to allow a pressure pad to be put in if you're going to mount a light or a laser to it. You've got another 20mm rail on top here for mounting optics. I think it'll look pretty cool with an optic. As you probably know, in the real steel world, you might want some sort of optic on there. But in Airsoft, with our shower shells and what have you, you probably don't really need an optic, but I'll probably mount one on there anyway, just because it'll look cool. which is half of what things are for me in airsoft. It does feel solid. There's no creakiness to it, apart from obviously where it opens up. That has a bit of a creak to it, but nothing major. It's pretty solid. It's not a problem. Yeah, nice feeling piece of kit. Good in the shoulder. Yeah, I really like the feel of it. This is for releasing spring tension if you've wound it up and you're not going to use it, but to be honest, you can just pull the trigger and do that. There's not really a whole lot you could say about it. I think it's one of those niche type of things that if you really want one and you like the look of it and you want one in your collection, then you by all means, I think it's worth the money. It's well made, well put together. It looks just like the real steel. Not that I've held a real steel. I'm only going off videos and photographs I've seen, but it looks just like it. The operating system of it, of the opening and closing, is just the same. And yeah, it's a really nice looking replica. Very clean. You can get this in tan, as I say, which may look nice as well. There's a picture of the tan version on the front of the instruction sheet there. So dependent on what you prefer. Now, realistically, when would you use this in game? I don't know. You could maybe carry this as a secondary if you wanted. Quite a heavy secondary. For me, I think I more bought it because I wanted it in my collection. And also, because I think it'll be really good fun to use in game. Might not get me the most kills of the enemy team in the world. Might not be the most effective replica to use in an airsoft game in the world. But I do think it'll be great fun. Which, you know, you could say for all 40mm grenade launchers. They're not always the most effective unless you are using tag rounds or something like that. But again, they're great fun to use. They're awesome. There's just something about them that makes them really good fun to use. And that is why I got this. So if you're in the market for one of these, have a look round, see if you can find one pre-owned like I did. If not, if you're happy to buy one at full price, as I say, for about £150, you're certainly going to get yourself an unusual replica. Maintenance-wise, as I say, it's predominantly polymer, so there isn't really much more you can do. Just keep it clean. There are parts you could oil up, like the hinge mechanism here. You've got the metal parts on spring tension. You've got metal parts down here. So there are parts that you certainly could spend a bit of time on, and making sure that they're in clean and good condition. But like I said, for the price, it's certainly unusual. It's certainly different, and I like it. I'll tell you what to do is let me know what you think in the comments. Is it something that you would use? I know there are other videos from other YouTubers online that have used one of these in game to great effect and looked great fun. It is an item that's been out for a while, but I certainly don't see them on the field very often. I haven't used this one, as I say, at my home field yet, and I don't think I've ever seen one of these used on my home field. Nobody's actually used one of these in game, as it were. But for me, you know, it's certainly a superb looking thing, and I can't wait to get it out in the field and use it. So there you go. Not really a whole lot for me to tell you on it on an introduction. We'll do a shooting test with this replica when we are out in game. I'll take it out in game. You can see it in action. I would do a shooting test here for you, but my range here in the studio, that's going to end up with a lot of BBs flying about when I start firing this. So I think it'll be better if I test it in the field for you. What I would say is, if you want any more information about this replica, if you want any details, anything I've missed, any comments about the video in general, then do drop me a comment below. I always respond to comments. I might not get back to you straight away, but I will always reply to you. If you've enjoyed this video, then please drop a like on it. And as I say, if you're enjoying my series of videos, then do please subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss any of my uploads, and you won't miss cool stuff like this. I think it's pretty awesome. Okay, so with that in mind, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.